Welcome in. What's Right with Nick Wright, episode 384. This episode of What's Right with Nick Wright is brought to you by our friends at Boost Mobile. All right, real quick, insane night last night. That went way too long on the East Coast. It was 2:30 in the morning out here, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know, and I will admit, I missed the bottom of the 17th. Bottom of the 17th, I fell asleep. And I woke up and saw the top of the 18th and the Freddie Freeman walk-off. Before we get to that, before we get to the Chiefs being the Chiefs, a quick little fun story. Damonza, how are you?
Good, Pops. How you doing?
I'm doing well. So, you know this, the audience doesn't. Thursday, interesting day, because this past Thursday, the NBA gambling scandal breaks, the Chauncey Billups poker scandal breaks, and that night, I was already scheduled to be at a charity poker tournament. And I actually, while I was there, got some legit intel because I may or may not have been able to talk to some people who might have played in either some of those games years back, or certainly when they read the indictment, they're like, oh, that's odd. I sure know that dealer. And so there was some real, I guess I could write it off on my taxes. It was a business expense I was investigating. However, here's the reason I bring it up. Hank Azaria, the great Hank Azaria, awesome comic, voice of so many of the great Simpsons characters, great actor. He has two charity poker tournaments a year. One is at Citi Field, partnering with the Mets, and the other is at Casa Cipriani, partnering with the Dream School in Harlem. I go to both of them. Last year, the Mets won at Citi Field, about 120 people in the tournament. I won it, and that's how we won that trip to Baha Mar in that crazy suite your mom and sisters were staying in with the pool table and the butlers and all that nonsense. I won that by winning the charity poker tournament. So I won. His Mets won last year. His Dream School won at Casa Cipriani Thursday night. Bang.
Oh,
champ.
that's
100-person charity tournament. I'm a two-time champ. I've won both his tournaments. So,
oh my goodness!
Yeah, how about they gave me a trophy
rigged
for this one? I got a trophy. All in for Dream Poker Tournament Champion. Shout out Hank Azaria. Shout out Dream School in Harlem. Shout out Poker Pro Andy Frankenberger, who before the poker tournament gives lessons to everyone in there and then gets dusted by me every year. Shout out to my pals Bellin and Metten and everybody who just go there, donate money, and then watch me hoist the trophy every year. What a dream. What an absolute literal dream. Dream, again, the Dream School in Harlem. It's great. Good money, good food, good people. Really just outstanding. And so the prize is a suite with 12 tickets at a Knicks game in December. I don't have the exact details on it, but that's the prize I picked. They were like, oh, one of the prizes is, I don't know, however many nights at the Wynn in Vegas. Like, you might like that. I'm like, here's the thing that you guys might not know. And I tell people this, and they're like, oh, really? Is that true? It's like, it is true. You can stay in Vegas anytime you want for free, as long as one of those times you lose enough playing blackjack. So I don't need free rooms in Vegas. I put my work in on that. I stay at the Aria for free for life. And so I took the Knicks tickets, but I won the tournament. Very happy about it. And maybe got some real intel or some insight on the scandals in the NBA. We're not going to get into that today because I have to vet some of the anecdotal stories I was told, but I think more names potentially could be coming out. And I think people that you wouldn't expect to be in some financial trouble might have been in some financial trouble. And so we will table that for now, but it's there. I would like to get to straight to voicemail, brought to you by Boost Mobile, before we get to the Chiefs. And this straight to voicemail is going to be a long one because we're going to discuss last night's baseball game. But Luke and Ant out with injuries, and which automatically turns Austin Reeves into one of the best scorers in the league. Cam Scatterbo had a really scary, awful injury. Glad he had successful surgery. And shout out to Big Dom, sincerely, from the Eagles, for bringing him cheesesteaks and meeting him in the hospital. Big Dom actually does seem like a really good dude. A little, I know I poked
Had a
fun
nice
at
little run since his
but he
first
does
stint.
seem like a really good dude. So I think that's awesome. And then the Dodgers take a 2-1 lead in the World Series in flatly, Damonza, one of the greatest baseball games ever played.
Apparently.
And that's not hyperbole. And here's the thing. Sometimes games are incredibly long, and because of that, people call them all-time great games, but they weren't really great games. They were just long.
Just went too long.
Well, I was fine with how long it went, but the point I'm making is this. If this thing had ended in 9 innings, it would have been one of the best World Series games of the last 25 years. Ohtani just being a fire-breathing dragon, combined with Vladdy scoring from first, the amazing plays defensively to nail guys either at the plate or at third base, the little controversy early when the ump clearly misses ball 4, and so everybody's going to I think it was Bichette is going to first base. The guy on first is trying to go to second instead. It's a strike, and the guy on first gets picked off. It was just it was unbelievable theater through 9 innings. Then there was another 9 innings of scoreless baseball, including Clayton Kershaw being dusted off. Hey, no big deal, Clayton, but it's just bases loaded, 2 outs, extra innings, World Series. See if he can get us out of this jam. And he did, all culminating in Freddie Freeman, after hitting a walk-off grand slam in last year's World Series, hitting a walk-off 18th inning leadoff shot to put the Dodgers in great position going into tonight's game when Ohtani is going to pitch, and Ohtani is pitching the night after becoming the first player in World Series history to reach base 7 times. Becoming the first player in World Series history to reach base 8 times. Becoming the first player in World Series history to reach base 9 times. Becoming the first player in World Series history to have 4 extra base hits. I mean, this guy had 2 doubles, 2 bombs, and then they just waved the white flag. It was, and the Dodgers could have and maybe should have lost. It was a one-man offensive show that then got some supporting acting from Freddie Freeman. And Blue Jays really going to be kicking themselves, man. Especially with George Springer now injured. And the opportunity that they had. And I just don't understand how you pitched to Ohtani in, was it the 7th or the 8th? When he hit the solo bomb. The 7th. You have taken the lead in the top of the 7th. Ohtani's the only guy on the team who has done anything. He's 3 for 3 with 2 doubles and a bomb. And you pitch to him, and he, of course, hits another bomb. Now, then after that, 4 straight intentional walks and then a regular walk. But, man, oh, man. Yep. That's going to be one you want back. And what you guys can tell me on Hard Rock Bet what the Dodgers are favored by tonight. Yeah, I mean, with Ohtani on the mound, around minus 200 is what I see. And they are, and Ohtani's got to, pitch tonight after playing that game. Just an insane setup and one of the coolest baseball games anybody's ever seen. I know we had an 18-inning World Series game a few years ago. This, to me, was a far better innings 1 through 9 game, and then just massive edge-of-your-seat drama for innings 10 through 18, even if it was just insanely late. My God. It was a tough wake-up this morning. All right, everybody, reminder, like, rate, subscribe, review to the pod. That helps us out. I just got our numbers for the pod through August. We haven't gotten any football season numbers yet, but the pod's doing great. That is thanks to you guys. We greatly appreciate that. And so if you guys will like, rate, really, I know we say like and rate. That is the secondary and tertiary requests. Subscriptions, we greatly appreciate on YouTube or on iTunes or on Spotify or whatever. I'm sure there's a third audio streaming platform that we never mentioned that I'm not aware of. But the iHeart app, do it there too. All right, Damonza, let's get to the Chiefs being the Chiefs.
So you called last night's win against the Commanders for your Chiefs a must-win, and you felt like they'd win by a lot. They did win by a lot. It was a close game there for a minute. Looked like
at halftime, yeah, 7-7 at half.
So what was your biggest takeaway from yesterday's game?
Hold on, I have a question for you.
What happened?
Because I think in general, you root for, me and my success and happiness.
100%.
But I feel like you maybe, during a game like last night, find yourself rooting for the Commanders. Want me just taken down a peg a bit. I could just tell it the way you asked the question. Like you at halftime, you were like, "Oh, could be in a tough spot for Pops tomorrow." Do I have that right?
I'm never rooting for them to lose, but certain teams like the Commanders, I understand like what are the optics on the Chiefs as they lose a game like this. I'm never rooting for them to win or rooting for them to lose, but yeah, sometimes I find it a little funny when teams hang around with them and stuff, and it becomes like a bigger game than what it should have been. But
okay,
yeah.
So listen, this game's. Here are my snap takeaways from it. Okay, so Patrick, for just the second time all year, made a costly mistake. The pick that Lattimore got was, at the time, his third pick of the year. Two of what the Jags pick and the Lattimore pick were, bad throws or bad decisions. And then all later in the first quarter, for the second time all year, Patrick made a great throw to Travis that Travis bobbled and got picked. And because of that, the Commanders were able to hang around. Luckily, the Chiefs are back to being the Chiefs in full, and because of that, it flatly did not matter. They had a drive in Damonza. They had a drive in this game that was a 119-yard touchdown drive because they got penalties. It started on the 6, and they got penalties on it to where they had to recoup those yards. And as I have been screaming from the mountaintops for the better part of 2 years, all Patrick Mahomes needs is a competent offensive line and a league average receiving core, which now they have above league average, and he will instantly look like the best player in the sport once again, and that's what's happened. Last night, by the way, the Chiefs without starting all-pro right guard Trey Smith, or certainly Pro Bowler, I don't know if he's been an all-pro, and as they've been the last few weeks, without starting left tackle Josh Simmons. And the Josh Simmons absence looked early on like it could be a problem, as Jalen Moore was struggling a bit with, who was it? Jacob Martin. But the Chiefs steadied themselves at halftime, and then after that, it's just an embarrassment of riches compared to the receiving core that they had all of last season and the first few weeks of this season, and that leads to Travis running wide open, Rashee Rice just absolutely cutting people up in yards after the catch. And even in a game when Xavier Worthy does not do all that much, and where Patrick doesn't do all that much with his legs, the Chiefs' second half drives are just touchdown, 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 and that's it. And so here is the other major takeaway that impacts the season for Kansas City. I don't know if it's because Andy has adjusted his philosophy. I don't know if it's because Patrick has more sway or input on decision making. And I don't know if it's because Butker had been so shaky to start the year. But for one reason or another, for the first time in Mahomes' career, he is on a team that is aggressive rather than conservative on fourth downs. And that changes everything for Kansas City. They went for a fourth down in their own territory early in the game. They went for a fourth and goal. They've been doing it all year long. Kareem Hunt is just automatic on these 4th and 1 plays. And because of that, they are getting 7 when they used to get 3. And it makes them all the more dynamic and all the more dangerous. And I, of course, now have to remind the audience that since the tackle that turned the tide, the Chiefs are a guaranteed minimum 28 points a game once again. They, in that Giants game, pre and post tackle that turned the tide, they scored, 13 second half points. And then after that, 37 against the Ravens, 28 against the Jags, despite a pick at the 1-yard line, 30 against the Lions, despite taking their foot off. No, they didn't take the foot off the gas in that game. It was the Ravens game. 37 against Baltimore through 3 quarters, 28 against the Jags, 30 against the Lions, 31 against the Raiders, despite going to benching Mahomes in the 4th quarter, and 28 against the Commanders, despite a, honestly, nothing first half. And now they do have, Damonza, a real AFC playoff team gauntlet coming up. Sunday at the Bills, then a bye week, then at the Broncos, then home for the Colts. And that 3-game stretch will determine the AFC West. It will go a long way to determining the AFC East for the Bills' purposes, and it will go a long way to determining the number 1 seed in the AFC. And so I could not feel better about where this team is right now. And oh yeah, by the way, the defense has allowed 7 points in the last 2 weeks. So pretty good. Go ahead.
That's pretty crazy to think about. But how are you feeling? Your confidence level going into this Buffalo game on Sunday? We saw Buffalo just took care of the Panthers after the bye.
So it's weird. It's weird because I don't think, if I'm being totally honest, I don't think any result's going to make me feel good. Because if they lose, obviously, that hurts them dramatically in seeding and all of that. But they lose to the Bills every year in the regular season and then beat them in the playoffs. And if they win, then in the back of my head, I will be like, oh man.
This is the opposite.
Is this going to be flipped this year? Yeah. Is this the year you beat them in the regular season and lose to them in the postseason? With that said, I just don't think the Bills' defense is that good. And particularly, who is it? Was it Ed Oliver? Who got hurt for the Bills? Yeah, Ed Oliver is going to be out for the Chiefs game. And so he's their best defensive player. So that, and Taylor Rapp was already out. So that already was concerning for Buffalo. And so that, I think the Chiefs are going to be able to move the ball, I don't want to say at will, but with relative ease against the Bills. And then the question is, what can the Bills do against a Chiefs team that all of a sudden has the number 2 scoring off defense in football? The Houston Texans are allowing 14.7 points per game. The Kansas City Chiefs are allowing 16.4 points per game. And so right now the Chiefs, the dynasty's over, the sky is falling, Mahomes isn't Mahomes anymore. Right now the Chiefs have the number 2 scoring defense and currently the number 6 scoring offense, which is less than 1 point away from being the number 5 scoring offense. And they've done it contrary to what I think Stephen A said this morning. They've done it against what's supposed to be elite competition. The Ravens, the Lions. Obviously, they lost to the Chargers and the Eagles, but the defense played well in the Eagles game, not so much the Chargers game. And now they're about to, they've got a real, this was, remember, if you remember, Damonza, this stretch of games is why I said before the year that if Rasheed's going to be suspended, which he obviously was going to be suspended, that I wanted it to be early rather than late. And they survived Rasheed's suspension. They're now 5-3, and now they have the stretch of football that will determine whether or not they win the AFC West for the, what it would be, 10th straight year, 9th straight year, and whether or not they have a real shot at the 1 seed. Because in the next 30 days, they go to Buffalo, they get a bye, they go to Denver, they host the Colts, and 4 days after hosting the Colts, they're in Dallas on Thanksgiving. In what will be
coming up.
Yeah, and that Dallas game will be, I'm going to go ahead and say it now. I wish it were a Fox game. It's obviously, it's not. It's a CBS game. That'll be the highest rated regular season NFL game in years and years and years. Because Thanksgiving, the Cowboys Thanksgiving game always is the highest rated regular season game of the year, and now it's the Cowboys Thanksgiving against Patrick Mahomes. All right, what else do we have on this before we get to other stuff?
Where do you think Rashee Rice ranks amongst top weapons Mahomes has ever had? You put him at 2?
Well, no, I mean he couldn't be higher than Tyreek or Kelce.
Oh, yeah, okay. I was taking Kelce out. I was just thinking receivers, but I guess Kelce,
you were just thinking receivers.
100%. Kelce
amongst receivers, he would be number 2. Amongst weapons, he actually might be number 4 with Kelce, Tyreek, and number 3 as far as weapons Mahomes has ever had.
McCall?
Who'd you say?
Oh, I was going to say McCall Hardman.
No.
Out of there.
Mahomes' first year as a starter, before he got kicked off the team, Kareem Hunt. And he's back now, obviously. But Kareem, the year before Mahomes got there, or Mahomes was there, but Kareem and Mahomes were rookies the same year. But obviously Mahomes didn't play his rookie year. Kareem's rookie season, he had 1,300 yards rushing, 450 yards receiving, almost 1,800 total yards, and 11 touchdowns. Mahomes' first year as a starter, Kareem played 11 games. In those 11 games, he had 1,200 yards total, receiving and rushing, and 14 touchdowns. And then he got kicked off the team for the domestic violence incident, and the Chiefs have never had a 1,000-yard rusher in that time frame in Mahomes' whole career as a starter. So he was dynamic. And so that's how, but Rasheed has a chance to be, without a doubt, the third best weapon Mahomes has ever had if he's not already. I mean, Rasheed is such a great player. He's just a great, great player. And his teammates adore him, which is helpful given the trouble he got himself in off the field, and then obviously him having to deal with the injury. All right, one look at the other side of this game.
So Washington has a pretty tough schedule coming up. They came into the last game with some injuries, and they're leaving this game with some more. Do you think it's time to sell all your Washington stuff?
So, well, yeah, I mean, so I guess there's two ways to talk about selling with the Commanders. One is selling their stock figuratively, like you're talking about, and absolutely, if you're holding any Washington stock at this point, that's going to zero for this season. They're 3-5, next to Seahawks, Lions, still games left against the Broncos, Cowboys, and 2 against the Eagles. This absolutely could be a year from hell, 6-11 season for the Commanders. As far as trading off players, I mean, if I don't know what players they have, that would be, teams would be super excited about going after
contracts and stuff. Yeah.
So if you could get a team to bite on Marshawn Lattimore, I would trade him. But you just traded for him a year ago. I don't think that's realistic. Obviously, you just extended McLaurin. You just traded for Debo. Those guys you're holding on to. Daron Payne, maybe. I think you would have to consider trading Daron Payne. He's got 1 year left on his contract after this, but he's probably your best defensive player. So maybe you just kind of have to stand pat if you're Washington, because you feel like this is just an unlucky regression year, and those are, that you'll be back next season. But Damonza, they're done. Like, do you think I'm overstating it? I think they have no shot of being I picked them to win that division.
Yeah.
I think that they are. If we look at the NFC playoff picture right now, the way the standings read for the playoff picture, Green Bay, Philly, Tampa, Seattle, Detroit, Rams, Niners. Those are your 5-win teams. Then you have Chicago and Carolina as 4-win teams. Dallas, Atlanta, Minnesota, Washington as 3-win teams. Even if you feel like San Francisco, because to me, Green Bay, Philly, Tampa, Detroit, and the Rams are just really good teams that are going to make it. I also think Seattle is a pretty damn good team.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like they have the faith of the rest of the nation entirely. And the the Niners are just so banged up, right? That you feel like they could regress. But if I'm right that Seattle is just a good team, and there's only going to be one of those top 7 that could fall off, and that's San Francisco, I would think Chicago or Dallas are far more likely to take advantage of the Niners falling off than the Commanders, given that the Commanders have Seattle and Detroit, 2 games against Philly left. Now, here's what I'll say for the Commanders. I am writing them off already. Season officially on the line Sunday against the Lions. Sunday Night Football. I'm sorry, against the Seahawks. That's the game. That's Sunday Night Football. Season on the line against the Seahawks. because maybe the Seahawks could be a little shakier than I'm giving them credit for. You win that game, they're 5-3, you're 4-5, and you have the head-to-head tiebreaker with them. The problem is the Seahawks still have games left against the Cardinals, Titans, Vikings, Falcons, Panthers, and a Week 18 game against a Niners team that might be done at that point. I think the Commanders, I don't think they're, first of all, they've been super injured. Second of all, I just don't think they've played that well. Third of all, I don't know when Jaden's coming back. All that to me says they're done. I just think they're done. Today's show is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. New customers can place a $5 bet, and if it hits, you get not only your winnings, but also $150 in bonus bets. Great week to try out the Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook app because there's so much going on this week. Game 4 in baseball tonight. The NBA is back, and of course, football's in midseason form. Plus, Hard Rock Bet drops new promos every day. Tonight, you can boost your same-game parlay for Toronto versus LA Game 4 and swing for extra winnings. Want to see what everyone else is betting on tonight? Top picks or parlays across any other sport? The Hard Rock Bet app literally shows you. It's another reason to download the app just for the info. Tap Discover, and you can see trending picks and parlays at any time. Download the Hard Rock Bet app and make your first deposit. All right, Damonza, let's get to your Ravens.
Before we get to the game, let's talk about Lamar Jackson and how it seems that Baltimore might have lied on their injury report. We've got the whole thing going on with the NBA right now, so it's a sensitive time. But you think that everybody's missing the real story in this debacle? What would that be?
So listen, I understand why of all the weeks to be like, oh, our quarterback that we said was a full participant was actually limited and he didn't take any reps with the ones. He was actually out with the scout team, and that everybody thinks is playing is not playing. Why this was the worst week imaginable to make that mistake from a conspiratorial perspective. I understand that. But I do not think that's the story. I think that's secondary to the story. And the story is, I believe the Ravens lied on the injury report not to get a competitive advantage, but they lied on the injury report as a way to pressure Lamar Jackson into play. And this, Damonza, follows a pattern. And I am going to lay it all out for you with John Harbaugh's own words. And keep in mind, Lamar has no agent. Lamar is self-represented. His mom does it. And the reason I say that is because whenever you hear reports about Lamar's status, it only can come from the team. He doesn't have an agent feeding Rappaport or Schefter stuff. And so, and by the way, can we please get, just a sidebar, can we please get real news at some point again? I mean, Carson Wentz evidently had a broken entire left side of his body for 3 weeks. Not reported anywhere. Trayvon Diggs suffered a concussion at home that has now put him on the IR. We have no info about it. Lamar Jackson, nobody had a clue he might actually miss time and didn't really practice until Saturday morning. And yet, in place of that, instead of getting that real info, what we get is the same 5 people racing to publish the exact same information seconds ahead of each other about extensions and undrafted free agents signing with practice squads with agents cited and agencies credited. It's just gross. And you also, you saw it again yesterday with who is it that what's his name, the great Surtain. Surtain got hurt. And Jordan Schultz, to his credit, had it first. And it's like, hey, this is multi-week, 4 to 6 weeks maybe. IR is a question. And then we get this, and this might seem unfair, but from one of the, biggest insiders, Pat Surtain, the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, suffered a pec strain in the win over the Cowboys. He's considered week to week and could land on IR. But solid news. Why? That's not solid. Again, that's not a positive news story. It sucks. It's football. There's injuries. But everything doesn't have to be framed as avoided catastrophe, better than expected. The team is relieved. If everything is better than expected, then nothing is better than expected. But I digress. To go to the Harbaugh Ravens thing. A Harbaugh Lamar thing. 2021, Lamar hurts his ankle. Week 14. John Harbaugh says about him playing week 15. Again, there are games week 15, 16, 17, 18. About him playing week 15. I'd say he has a chance. It's one of those things. It's an ankle sprain. If he starts feeling good and everything is all right, we'll check him out probably pregame. So Harbaugh is saying he's going to be a true game time decision. He's in all the preparations and all of that. We'll see where we're at. Lamar did not play again that season. And then after the year, John Harbaugh says, quote, Lamar felt like he was going to be back. The first week, he thought he had a chance. The second week, he assured me. He said, I'll be back. He missed 4 straight weeks. Then next year, Lamar gets hurt in week 13 during the game. There are 5 games left, plus the playoffs. Harbaugh says, it's not a season-ending type of knee. We'll get more tests tomorrow and let you know how long it's going to be. We'll see if he can go back, this week for week 14. If not, he'll be sometime after that shortly. Lamar missed the rest of the regular season. Missed 5 straight games. The Ravens, Schefter then reports, because the Ravens made the playoffs anyway, that Lamar is expected to play in the playoff game. According to sources. Again, there are no Lamar sources other than the Ravens. Lamar then misses the playoff game. And then, if you remember, tweets out about how it's a grade 2, almost a grade 3 PCL strain. And a lot of us, myself included, speculated it had to do with, remember, he didn't have a contract. That he was protecting himself because of the contract, which is totally reasonable. Then, there's the hamstring injury this year. After the Rams game, 16 days ago, John Harbaugh was asked about Lamar, about his optimism surrounding the team going into the bye. And he said, quote, our quarterback is going to be back. That's probably a big one. And then Friday, after practice, Harbaugh said, full practice today for Lamar. So that was good. There is only one way to read those sequence of events. That sequence of events. Lamar and the Ravens are consistently not on the same page about Lamar's injury timelines. And I believe the Ravens listed him as a full participant and talked about him as if it was a certainty that he was going to play on Sunday as a way to pressure him into playing. And then Saturday morning, Lamar shut it all down. I'm not saying who's right and who's wrong in this. It's certainly in play. The Ravens are just far too optimistic. And it's in play that Lamar is the type of player who, if he just doesn't feel close to 100%, he doesn't feel comfortable going out there. So be it. I'm not judging any of that. I am saying failing to acknowledge that that is the clear-cut, inarguable history here is failing to just read the transcripts. And it is because of that, Damonza, that while I think Lamar is going to play Thursday night, I am not certain of it. And even though Harbaugh said yesterday, full practice, we're expecting him to play, I don't think you can be certain.
I understand that there's like, you saying Lamar doesn't have an agent, but Lamar has somebody that's looking at his body when he goes to get checked on this type of stuff. Why are they not just talking to the Ravens? I'm kind of confused on why there's not just a doctor or somebody telling, oh, he's out for X amount of weeks.
Because what's pretty clear is, to me, because, yeah, he has a doctor. It's the Ravens doctor. And Todd Monken alluded to this a week ago about whether or not Lamar had been cleared. What is pretty clear, given Harbaugh's comments, is throughout all of these injuries, and again, maybe the Ravens team doctor is doing a bad job, but he has been cleared to play.
Each time.
And he is
just
saying,
his choice.
I can't. Right. And that, I think, has frustrated the Ravens over the years. Because the way it works is this. You cannot play without the doctor clearing you. But once the doctor clears you, you then have to be comfortable to play, obviously.
Right.
And I am reading this as a very obvious pattern of the doctor clearing him and him saying, no, I'm not comfortable playing. Again, maybe it's the Ravens team doctor issue. I'm really not banging on Lamar on this. I am saying that there is a clear disconnect between coach, medical staff, and player. Now, with all that said, Damonza, the Ravens are now the favorites to win the division.
Favorites.
And Snoop Huntley saved their season
100%.
with an awesome performance. And if you look at their schedule coming up, and you look at the Bengals blowing a game, just blowing it against the Jets, and the Steelers getting thoroughly outplayed by the Packers, you fully expect, Damonza, the Ravens to win their next four. Correct?
I mean, they could win the rest of the games if Lamar comes back. But yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Sure, they could win any of those individual games. But you would be stunned if they lose any of the next four. At Miami Thursday night, at the Vikings, who are a mess, at the Browns, who have the worst offense in football, home for the Jets. So they should be 6-5 going into the stretch run, where in those final 6 weeks, they have 2 games against the Bengals, 2 games against the Steelers, a Packers game, and a Patriot game. And throw that schedule back up, they will be favored in every game they play until week 17. They will be favored, obviously, in all their home games, and they will be road favorites against Tua, J.J. McCarthy, whoever the Browns quarterback is at that point, and Joe Flacco. And then they've got a shot. Now, here is a real scenario we've got on our hands, which would be hilarious. let's say the Patriots have some gaudy record, which they could. They're 6-2 already. Let's say the Patriots go 12-5. I think it's totally reasonable, given I think the Patriots play one game the rest of the way against AFC teams currently in the playoff picture. Okay? It's their second Bills game. So let's say they go 12-5 and win the AFC East. And the Bills also go 12-5. Okay? But the Patriots win the AFC East. This is a tiebreaker. And the Ravens go 8-9. But that's good enough to win the AFC North. They split with Cincinnati. They split with Pittsburgh. They lose the Packer game. And what's their record right now? 2-5? Yeah. It's whatever it is. They go 8-9, but it's enough to win the AFC North. The Ravens, the 8-9 Ravens hosting in the playoffs the 12-5 Buffalo Bills, or the 12-5 New England Patriots, or the 12-5 Denver Broncos, or if I'm wrong about the Chiefs, the 12-5, like the worst division winner, no matter the record, will host the best wild card. And the best wild card in the AFC this year is going to have a great record. Be it the Pats, be it the Bills, be it the Chiefs, be it the Chargers, be it the Broncos. One of those teams is going to win 11, maybe 12 games and have to go to an 8 or 9 win Baltimore or Cincinnati or Pittsburgh. And it's just what's going to happen.
Hopefully
and so, all right. Flip side is the Bears game.
The Bears. So Caleb made some more errors. That Ravens defense that everybody's been talking trash about, they look pretty good.
Well, I don't know if people were talking trash or they were just watching.
They've been bad. They've been pretty bad. But yeah, how many more errors or how long will you give Caleb before you give up on him?
Well, I'm not going to give up on him anytime soon, but he wasn't good. I mean, I'm not going to act like he was good, and that was a huge missed opportunity for them. For him and for them. And you'd like to give him a pass. Be like, they were on a 4-game winning streak. They were bound to lose. But you can't. Losing that game in that fashion to Tyler Huntley and Caleb playing that mediocre is a huge disappointment. Now, I still think, as I was saying when I was doing the playoff picture before, they're super live. Right now, they're in 8th place, and I think San Francisco is going to be trending in the wrong direction. And their next 2, Damonza, their next 3, I should say, are Bengals, Giants, Vikings. So the Bears should be 7-3. They should be 7-3 going into a really tough stretch of games. And so, but Caleb's got to play better. There's no way around it. Caleb flatly has to play better. And I think at this point, I think everybody can acknowledge and accept that.
Do you think that Chicago's more committed to Caleb or Ben Johnson?
They're fully committed to both. I mean, the thing is this. Ben took the job because of Caleb.
Right.
So he wants to make this work, but Caleb's got to play better. There's no sugarcoating that. All right, let's go to Eagles-Giants.
All right, for the first time all year, Philly looked good on all angles or on all fronts. Saquon was doing his thing. Jalen was doing his thing, getting it to his guys. But this all came from a game without A.J. Brown. Is there some worry there?
Well, I don't think they're going to trade A.J. Brown. But this game, I think, certainly made it slightly more likely. And listen, credit to the Eagles. They looked awesome, and Saquon finally looked like Saquon. Now, we'll see. Was that a blip for this, what's going to be a down season for him, or was that the turning point of the season? And they get the bye now, and they feel like we haven't even played that well. We're 6-2. We're a game out of first place in the conference going into the bye. We've played a brutal schedule. Jalen has 20 touchdowns, 15 passing touchdowns, and 1 interception. Like, they just don't throw for a lot of yards, but they're super efficient. So they feel good about all that. Do I think, though, it's on the board, Damonza, that Pittsburgh or Buffalo or New England make Philly an offer for A.J. Brown that they really have to consider? I do. Because I do think this is likely A.J.'s last year with the team. I just think it's too much. Yeah. And he's a great player. But the fact that he wasn't satisfied seemingly after last week's game, and then this week he missed and the offense looked amazing.
Wasn't satisfied after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, right. And so I do think that is the biggest name by far. Trade deadline's a week from today. That's the biggest name by far to watch, is A.J. Brown. And I don't think that they will move off of him, but I don't think it is ridiculous to discuss. All right, I know that we've got it. There's another piece of that game.
More tush-push controversy. Do you see Philadelphia abusing this play before it gets exonerated or obliterated into the shower room?
I mean, I think what happened in this game, if I were a Giants fan, I'd have been beside myself. I mean, that was outrageous. And here's the thing, and here's what's frustrating for opponents. It feels like it's a one-way street on forward progress on the tush-push. Because what you often see is they stop the initial push, and then there's like a beat of progress being stopped. And then Jalen is not down because he's kind of surfing on top of linemen, gets pushed further. Well, that's fine if that's what we're going to do. But then that is a lot. If it's at the goal line, then so be it. Because the moment you cross the goal line, the play's dead. But that wasn't at the goal line. And that was as clear of a fumble as you'll ever see. And for the refs to say we whistled it dead, and then for us to hear the audio and be like, no, you didn't. The ball came out well before there was any whistle. It like, feels like...
I just feel like we shouldn't be giving any benefits to them for running this play. Like
I know.
Like, come on,
and
dude.
Instead it goes the opposite. You would think it would go that way. Like, we hate this play. We almost banned this play. So you better not line up in the neutral zone, false start, fumble. But instead, it's the other way.
They're getting rewarded.
We hate the play, and we let you do things on it you can't do in any other play. So I keep thinking we're going to be at a tipping point in it. And Brady, it keeps happening during these huge Brady-Fox games where Brady is pointing out the things wrong with it, and nothing changes. So I really don't know. All right, hold on. I got to do something I've never done for the pod. I have to do a quick wardrobe change. So let me take off this sweatshirt. If you guys have been watching Chad Powers, you know what this shirt represents. Now, series recap for Chad Powers, which streams on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus for bundle subscribers. Warning for folks out there. If any of you are big enough dopes to not have watched Chad Powers yet, spoilers are coming. So, fast. If you're listening live on YouTube and you haven't watched Chad Powers yet, come back in about 2 minutes. If you're watching this or listening to this, once it's already been posted, just fast forward for about 2 minutes because there are spoilers to come. All right, I'm going to be totally candid about my Chad Powers experience. When they first announced that this was going to be a show, I had to say I didn't quite get it. Because I was like, okay, this is like a character Eli Manning created, or the Mannings created. And I know the people at Omaha, one of my former producers at First Things First is a bigwig over at Omaha. The guy who hired me at Fox is the head of Omaha. So I wanted to give him the benefit of it's the production company that made it. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I was like, how is this fake character that the Mannings created for skits going to turn into a show. And then I watched it as part of this sponsorship with our friends at Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus. And I was like, they made a hell of a show. So the context, again, I don't want to give it all away, but here's the context. Star quarterback who, and it was actually ended up being very kind of relevant to things that we see in current football, oddly. Star quarterback fumbles the national championship away. And in really embarrassing fashion. Not like, oh, great play by the other team. Like, no, it's dropping the ball before the goal line type of fumble. And then flips out, and there's a tough incident with a Make-A-Wish kid's dad, and it's all on TV, and now the guy's, smash cut to almost a decade later, and the guy's life's a mess. He was going to be a star NFL quarterback. Instead, this one mistake has kind of ruined his life. And then, and this is where the Hollywood hijinks comes in, he decides kind of, what is, if you kind of in an allusion to Necessary Roughness, the great 80s movie with Kathy Ireland and Sinbad and others, and a little bit of Ladybugs, the Rodney Dangerfield movie. They're like, hey, what if I create a whole new persona, Chad Powers, and I go back to college and try to basically remake what my career could have been. So that's the context of the show, and not surprisingly, throughout the course of the season, what you see is, again, spoilers, this guy crushes, but there's a little bit of a love triangle involved. There might be some cheating on spouses involving the coach, his family. There's drama. It's a comedy, but there's drama. All set on the backdrop of this guy trying to keep his identity hidden while he leads his fictitious college team to a national championship. So that is, and I thought this was going to be a one-season arc, but it's not. And again, this is the end of the spoilers. Season 1 ends on the ultimate cliffhanger as far as the love triangle, the health of one of the main characters, the championship football game, all of it is right there on the brink. Snap season over, and they just leave you waiting for season 2. So that's your quick recap. And Glenn Powell, who's a legitimate superstar in Hollywood, obviously, is the main character, and he's great. And he has to play. I don't know if you guys saw the Glenn Powell movie. Gosh darn it, I should have. He plays an assassin in a movie where he plays a bunch of different characters that are all the same guy. He's the same guy playing a bunch of different characters. He does something similar here where he plays himself, not Glenn Powell, but whatever. The jerk quarterback that blew it all, and the nerd Chad Powers is a double life. He's playing both characters. He's really good at this, playing two different characters type of thing. He did it in the movie, he's done it in this. So, that is our quick Chad Powers Season 1 recap. Again, don't just listen to my recap. Go check it out. To get you ready for Season 2, Chad Powers Season 1 streaming on Hulu and on Hulu Plus for Disney Bundle subscribers. All right, Damonza, let's get to Packers-Steelers while I put my I don't know what this is, windbreaker, jacket, whatever it is, back on. But go ahead.
So we thought that the Packers-Steelers game was going to be a Rodgers revenge game, but this ended up being a good Jordan Love game. Played one of his best games of his career so far. Green Bay remains the number 1 seed. Pittsburgh's standing is in more jeopardy. Who do you think this is bigger on? Do you think this is more about Green Bay or is this more about Pittsburgh?
Listen, I think it's huge for both. Pittsburgh could be in real trouble. And fair's fair. It's, Aaron Rodgers held up his end of this Pittsburgh deal. The defense has not. Rodgers has not. Oh, and that chat, the Glenn Powell movie was Hitman. I called it Assassin. Same thing. Rodgers is just never going to throw for a bunch of yards again. It's just not in his game. But he's still efficient. He's still accurate. He still can make some wow plays. The defense has been dreadful. Allowed the Jets to score 30 plus. Allowed Joe Flacco and the Bengals score 30 plus, and just allowed the Packers to score 30 plus. And now, and Pittsburgh, when you look at their schedule, Damonza, this is why the Ravens are the favorites now. Colts, Chargers, and then in the final 6 weeks, Buffalo, Baltimore twice, Detroit. They could be in real trouble. Green Bay, on the other hand, I do think that was the best game of Jordan Love's regular season career. I thought he was fantastic. And when Love plays even close to that level, they're the best team in the NFC. And because the defense is great. I know the defense had, a brief moment where it was like, oh, what's going on? The defense is great. And when Love is dealing like that, they're as good as any team in that. I think they're the best team in that conference. And so I think Pittsburgh could be in real trouble. And I think that the Packers, at this moment, let me put it like this, and this is why I call Jordan Love the most interesting person in the NFL this year. If you believe in Jordan Love, you should believe the Packers are going to go to the Super Bowl. I'm 60% of the way to believing in Jordan Love, but I'm not fully there. So that's why I don't have them going to the Super Bowl. But if he's played really well. His numbers this year are unbelievable. I don't think he's played quite as well as his numbers, but his numbers are great. All right, Damonza, let's go to Broncos-Cowboys.
Yeah. So the Broncos, they went out there, they beat the Cowboys. We said that was going to be a crazy matchup. Cowboys defense obviously sucks, but you got to start to believe in Denver a little bit at this point, huh?
Well, this is going to make Bronco fans so mad. Classic one by me. Instantly correct. And I should have had the producers pull the tape of our preseason show when I picked Denver to miss the playoffs. And I said, come around week 8, I'm going to be getting dozens, if not hundreds of tweets of people for the 5-3 Denver Broncos saying, see how wrong you were? Ready to admit Bo Nix is legit? Now, they're 6-2, not 5-3. And I'll give you my full Broncos thoughts in a second. But when I picked them to miss the playoffs, I anticipated that they would get off to a hot start and then really slow down late in the year. Now, part of that anticipation was I thought the 2 Raider games they had late in the year were going to be tough. And part of that also was I thought the Raiders were going to be good, which is why I said I had Denver finishing last in the division. The Raiders are not playing along with me on that. So, I do have to concede at this point, Denver is not going to finish last in the AFC West. I am not ready at all to concede that they're definitely making the playoffs. And I certainly don't think they're going to win the division. What I do think is this. The way Bo Nix has played the last 5 quarters makes them one of the best teams in the NFL. I just do not at all believe that is sustainable or really who he is. Now, if he keeps up even close to what he's been the last 5 quarters, from the 4th quarter of the Giants game through the entire Cowboys game, then that team is exactly what Sean Payton thought it was. Great defense, very good offensive line, stud quarterback, all the pieces you'd want. I don't think that's legit. And, we'll see. I am not yet ready to concede anything close that I was wrong about Denver because I anticipated they would get off to a good start this year. Now, did I think they were going to win the Eagles game? No. But, and I would have thought when I said they'd be 5-3 through 8, I thought they'd beat the Colts and lose to the Bengals because I didn't know Burrow was going to be hurt and I didn't know the Colts were going to be this good. Regardless, though, I expected them to beat the Jets, Giants, Cowboys. I said it on the preview show. Now, the Jets and Giants games were weird and ugly, but they got the win. And the Cowboys game, I got dead. I didn't expect them to beat the Cowboys going into the Cowboys game, but before the year I did. Going into the Cowboys game, I picked the Cowboys. I bet on the Cowboys. I got it dead wrong. The defense is awesome. I am worried about the Surtain injury. And again, if Bo Nix turned a corner during that Giants game, then this team is to be taken very seriously. We'll see on that. And I think he has, while I expect the Broncos to win, Damonza, because I don't know how Houston's going to be able to move the ball against the Broncos defense, Bo has a nice test in front of him with the Texans defense.
Yeah.
That Texans defense is awesome.
I
so
do
that'll
think
be a nice test.
That's got to be an opinion changer for you, though. Like, if he goes in there
Bo
and does
plays well against the Texans
Houston,
defense,
yeah,
absolutely.
You got to start.
No, that'll matter.
Right.
100%. That'll matter. And the Cowboys, on the other hand, they just can't beat good teams. They score 40 a game against teams below 500. They score 25 a game against teams at or above 500, but they've lost or tied all those games. And so, credit to the Broncos, for totally proving me wrong in that game. As far as proving me wrong on the season, we'll see. All right, so you're thinking about upgrading to the all-new iPhone 17 Pro. It's not even the most powerful iPhone ever, but you're also thinking about the traffic on your way to the store, the hassle of transferring all your data. Good news. When you order a new phone online with Boost Mobile, they'll send an expert to your home or work to deliver your brand new iPhone 17 Pro and get you all set up on Boost Mobile within minutes. No hassle. Visit boostmobile.com to get started. Delivery available for select devices purchased at boostmobile.com. Terms do apply. All right, let's quickly do MVP before we do the rest of the games around the NFL we didn't get to.
So a few weeks ago, the MVP was coming down to Mahomes with Baker at second. Baker is now behind Jordan Love and Jared Goff and at 8th place. But a dark horse has appeared in Jonathan Taylor. And you said a while back that Jonathan Taylor had a better case to win than Saquon had last year. Care to explain?
Yeah, so I just think listen, Daniel Jones isn't as good as Jalen Hurts. We know that. The Eagles, the Colts don't have the defense the Eagles did. We know that. The Colts have good wide receivers. They don't have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And as amazing as Saquon's 2,000 yards were last year, Derrick Henry had like 1,900, right? And Saquon didn't have these crazy touchdown numbers. Jonathan Taylor right now is the rushing numbers are insane with Jonathan Taylor compared to everyone else. He has 850 yards rushing. Second place has 753. He has I'm trying to see how many total yards he has because he has 850 rushing. He has 1,056 total yards. I think second place is 200 behind him. He has 14 touchdowns, Damonza. 14. Oh. And I think second place has 9. So and the team's been dominant offensively. Yeah. So if there was ever going to be another running back to win the award, Jonathan Taylor is checking a lot of those boxes. And he's going to get some,
And wouldn't you say, as far as stat-wise, with the quarterbacks going around, that the numbers are relatively low this year?
Well, the passer ratings are insanely high.
Okay.
The yardage numbers
Just like
are
yardage,
relatively
touchdowns.
low. Like,
right.
Yeah, nobody's on pace for more than 4,500 yards, and nobody's on pace for 40 touchdowns. As far as passing, I think Mahomes is on pace for more than 40 total. But yeah, nobody. But what's crazy about the passer rating numbers are there are 11 starting quarterbacks with a passer rating north of 100. Right now, there's 5 with a passer rating north of 110. So the efficiency numbers are crazy. The volume numbers have not been. All right, let's go to the quick hitters, the other games very quickly. In what was kind of a bad Sunday slate and started with a bad Thursday game.
Yeah, so we had the Chargers defeating the Vikings 37-10.
Great game by the Chargers. Vikings now begrudgingly go to J.J. McCarthy after putting Carson Wentz out there with a totally wrecked left arm.
I felt so bad for him, dude.
Yeah,
that was rough.
It was really rough, and it might be the end of that might have been his last game ever too. It's tough.
That'd be really unfortunate. I hope that's not the case, to be honest. How old is Carson?
But I mean, he's having season-ending surgery, and I just, I don't know where he'll be next year. But the Chargers got a huge win for them. Next,
Dolphins defeat the Falcons 34-10.
So, I got this game as wrong as you possibly could. Kirk Cousins, not good. Tua saves Mike McDaniel's job, at least for a week. And the Dolphins look good for the first time all year. Next.
Jets defeat the Bengals 39-38.
So I watched football at Danny's on Sunday. And the way we had it set up, we had a giant TV with a quad box.
Okay.
Red zone on another TV. And then there was a third TV that we had to pick one of the local games. So obviously we picked Giants-Eagles.
Right.
And as it turned out,
wrong game.
Close game of the whole day was Jets-Bengals. And it was the game we probably watched the least of. That's a brutal loss for the Bengals. Up 14 on the Jets late. Good for Justin Fields, by the way, after the week he had. And shout out to Aaron Glenn, down 14, scored a touchdown, went for 2 and got it, which is what allowed them then to just kick an extra point to take the lead. A lot of coaches don't do that. It's unequivocally the right call. Shout out to him for getting it right. Next.
Bills defeat Panthers 40-9.
Yeah, shame on me for not betting the Bills coming out of a bye when they needed it. And this was not a Josh Allen game. This was a James Cook game. Yeah. And shout out to James Cook for being dominant. Panthers really, at home, the Panthers have been tough. They were brutal in that game.
I think they need a Bryce. Texans defeat the Niners 26-15.
Great win for the Texans. CJ's best game of the year. And the Niners, I got this one wrong.
Starts the downslide.
But you worry about... No, I didn't pick this. I didn't get this one wrong. I stayed away from this one. The Niners' defensive injuries caught up to them a bit. Next.
Patriots defeat the Browns 32-12. Or 32-13, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. 2 takeaways here. 3, actually. Myles Garrett was unbelievable. Drake May is playing like an MVP. And Dylan Gabriel is one of the worst starting quarterbacks in recent NFL history. And
safety wasn't great. But
the safety was that might have been the worst safety with respect to Dan Orlovsky. That might have been the worst safety in NFL history. And I don't know how the Browns can't consider Shedeur after.
I was about to say, how many more games does Gabriel have? Like 2 bad ones?
It should be 0. I'd go to Shedeur now. You have a bye week. Oddly, that division is so bad you can't consider yourself out of it with 2 wins. The Ravens don't consider themselves out of it with 2 wins. Next.
Buccaneers defeat the Saints 23-3.
Antoine Winfield might have had 2 touchdowns unfairly taken away from him. Baker, for the second straight game, didn't play that well. It didn't matter. That was a important win for the Bucs to stabilize themselves. It was nice for them to get a win without Baker playing well. Rattler's probably done as well, and it's Tyler Shuck time there. And last one.
Colts defeat the Titans 38-14.
Yeah, so the Titans are a mess. Even by give the rookie grace scale, I'd be a little nervous about Cam Ward. And Jonathan Taylor was simply unreal in that game. Simply unreal. The Colts just annihilate bad teams.
Yeah.
And we're going to, they've got the Colts.
100%.
We're going to find out a lot about the Colts here over the second half of the year, but they only play one great team all year left at the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But they at least play solid teams the rest
That's
of the way.
going to make that MVP race a lot more clear, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But right now that game's buried at 1:00 on CBS, and so I wonder.
They'll move
I wonder if that game could get flexed. That Sunday night game is Rams Bucks. I wonder if they'll make it Chiefs Colts. All right, thank you to Blue Duck. Thank you to Volume. Thank you, as always, to Hard Rock, to Boost, to Hulu and Chad Powers, and, of course, our great friends at Zen. I'm going on with Colin in about an hour. See you on First Things First at 3. See you guys back here Thursday morning. Appreciate you guys listening. What's right?